So today I wanted to talk about, on this really lovely day actually, what happens to the calories we eat, how many we need, what our body does with them, and how we could calculate that. So in order to do that, we're going to look at 4 acronyms. The first one is BMR, and this stands for Basic Metabolic Rate. The second one is TEF, which is the thermic effect of food. Our third one is TEPA, which is the thermic effect of physical activity. And lastly, we're going to look at TDEE, Total Daily Energy Expenditure. For the first acronym that I mentioned was BMR, that's our basic metabolic rate. This is the amount of energy that is required by our body to function while it is at rest. So the processes that includes are things like breathing, blood circulation, brain and nerve function, and body temperature control. So it really is the very basic needs of the body to maintain being alive, but without anything else. And that is determining the calories that you need to purely just stay alive. So how do we calculate this magic number? Well, there is a really simple equation. It's called the Harris-Benedict equation. This takes into account your sex at birth, your weight, your height, and your age. So using that Harris-Benedict example, I'm going to do a make-believe equation for Jack and Jill. So the equations are different depending on if you are male and female, but you input the same information. So Jack is 89 kilograms. He is 178 centimeters tall. He is age 45, which then would give him the total base metabolic rate, so the calories he just needs to literally stay alive, his body functioning to stay alive, of 1,869. Looking at Jill, Jill weighs 61 kilograms. She's 177 centimeters. She's 40 years old. And so her base metabolic rate is 1,370. Your BMR makes up around 60 to 75% of the total calories that you burn in a day. This does decline by about 1 to 2% every decade after the age of 20, but it's really important to understand that this will differ person to person. So the next acronym we looked at was the TEF, the thermic effect of food. This is the amount of energy that it takes your body to digest, absorb and metabolize or get energy from the food that you're eating. It makes up part of your calorie expenditure, or the calories out, and generally makes up around 6 to 10% of calories for men and around 6 to 7% for women. And then lastly, we had the TEPA, which is the thermic effect of physical activity. This is the amount of energy burned doing all physical activity. These are things that are planned physical activity, but also unplanned physical activity. It could be as simple as getting up from a chair, or could be a 30-minute intense HIIT session, and everything in between. This ranges from around 15% to 30% of your total daily energy expenditure. And lastly, we have the final number, which is our TDEE, the total daily energy expenditure. Now, this will vary really significantly from person to person, but also from day to day, depending on how much physical activity you are taking part in. It's going to use all the other factors that we looked at, so the BMR, the TEF and the TEPA, and it also takes on additional activity level information. The classifications of this additional activity information are little to no exercise, exercise 1 to 3 times per week, exercise 4 to 5 times per week, daily exercise or intense exercise 3 to 4 times a week, intense exercise 6 to 7 times a week, and very intense daily activity or a physical job such as a tree surgeon or landscape gardener. The protocol that it takes is intense, looks at 45 to 120 minutes of elevated heart rate. And if you're opting for the very intense, it needs to be 2+ hours of elevated heart rate. When it comes to calculating your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, I have popped a link in the description for you to follow. This then looks at your base metabolic rate, all the other information, but also adds that level of activity onto it as well. So when you're filling that out, it's really important that you look closely at the guidelines around that physical activity to make sure that you are selecting the appropriate one, which will give you a really clear indication of what calories you need to consume in order to stay level each day of the week. So why is all of that important or even interesting to know? Well, from here we can get a much better understanding of how our bodies are working and what our bodies are using. This makes us really aware of the energy that we require on a daily basis to be able to achieve the physical activity or the day-to-day jobs that we need to. This then enables us to be able to modify our diet or look at our diet to see what calories are going in order to look at weight loss goals or to look at increasing calories to allow for the physical activity that you are taking part in. These numbers are just a method of you being able to understand your body more and to be able to give your body what it requires. I hope you found the information in this video interesting, or that you've just learnt a few new acronyms and things that you hadn't before. As in all of my videos, these are just bits of information that I am picking up along the way of my fitness journey and also my qualification into nutrition, and just excited to share these nuggets of information with you, which you can do exactly what you want with. Please follow the links in the description for all of the information that I've given you, and I will look forward to seeing you soon.